All right, we'll cut off Brad's interview to interview Brad. Brad, Joey said in his victory lane interview that you had the fastest car today and led a bunch of laps, but 1-2 finish from Team Penske. I'm sure you could wish it was one more spot, but really good effort out there. Want to talk about your race, please?
Yeah, I was. I'm disappointed not to bring it home, but that's just the way these things fall with double file restarts and half the field staying out and half the field not. You kind of take the good with the bad on those deals. So, got the outside lane and got behind 2 or 3 cars that I'm pretty sure I lapped 6 times a day. Somehow we're on the lead lap through waiver rounds, and when the restart came, we just were bottled up. So by the time I cleared those guys, even though we were a little bit faster than Joey, he already had a straightaway on us, and I felt like I had 5 or 10 more laps. I could have got to him and passed him, but there was only a handful of laps left, so that was the way it went. But that's part of how this racing deal works, and the fastest car doesn't always win, and you take some weeks we're the fastest, and you have to try to make the most of it and do all you can. I feel like as a team we did that today, and frustrated to not bring it home, but proud of the effort and the speed we had today, and leading laps and getting the stage win and so forth.
Great, thanks, Brad. Any questions for Brad? We'll start over here, Paul.
Brad, there was late in the race, you blocked, I think it was Kyle Busch, and Joey spurted ahead. You were given credit for helping a teammate out there. Did it
yeah, I don't know who said that, but that's not right, but okay.
Did it have any factor in where you finished?
Yeah, that's not what happened, so I would say no.
What did happen?
We were just racing for the lead, and the 18 was a little faster, and he got in the back of me, and that's what kept me from being able to hold on to the lead. So there was no blocking. I'm racing for the lead, so I'm not sure who said blocking.
We'll stay up here.
Yeah, Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcasting, WAKG. I know early in the first stage of the race, saw a lot of drivers that were closer to the wall, almost like Darlington.
Yeah.
How much of that was a factor of the fact it is a day race, or was there any other things going on that, the line seemed to change early on? Yeah,
the day race changes this track dramatically, and I think it makes it really racy. And I think it's great. I think this is some of the best racing here is during the day, but it's hot, and I know it's hard for some of the fans to be up in the stands and go through all that, but it's kind of a trade-off. The best racing here always seems to be during the day with all those lanes that open up, and that's what you saw today. It's a lot of fun to be a part of. No problem.
We're also joined with Rickey Stenhouse Jr., back-to-back top 10s. Rickey, nice job out there. It was a battle all day long, it looked like, for everyone, but especially you. Can you talk about your top 5 finish today?
Yeah, I made it a lot of work for us there, getting in the fence later in that first stage, and really we were fighting back all day from there. Had a really good car on the long run, but we bent the splitter bar down. It was on the splitter for 5 or 6 laps. So restarts, I was just trying to keep as best track position as I could, and once we got to lap 6 or 7, my car kind of came back around to me. So it was a no-brainer there to stay out that last caution. I was glad it came out because I thought we missed the opportunity the run before to stay out. So, it worked out perfect. Our 5th, 3rd, 4th, and the guys never gave up, worked hard. And like Brad said, this track's a lot of fun in the sun. It's hot in the car, hot in the stands. So appreciate everybody coming out. And it's nice to have, I think, 4 Fords in the top 5. So that was cool.
Great. Thanks, Rickey. We'll go upstairs to the press box for a question. Do we have a question in the press box? All right. Once we fix that problem, we'll come back here while we fix that up. Anything in the media center for either Rickey or Brad? Go a couple in the middle here.
Nick Vandell, Progress Index. Rickey, you've had some strong results on the short tracks. How big is that towards the season, and what would you and the team like to do to translate that to some of the faster tracks?
I think we've been a top 15 car on the mile and a halfs. I think you could say we've been a 10th place car on the short tracks, and gambled some and had some good finishes. I think today we were top 5 car before I wrecked it. Long runs were definitely top 5, but I like short tracks. The downforce, the less downforce we have, the more you can kind of play with the brakes, play with the gas and throttle and really kind of maneuver your car around a little bit more instead of it being stuck to the racetrack. So, you know, I've been finding a lot of success in that. You know, even if the car's not perfect, being able to, you know, change my adjustments and what I'm doing in the car to get the best out of it. So it's getting that way on 1.5 miles for sure, even the newer paved ones, but the old ones definitely is coming into factor too. So, you know, we just got to keep building better cars and bringing faster cars to the racetrack and putting the whole weekend together, not make mistakes.
Well, go over here in the middle, Michelle.
Michelle Martinelli, USA Today, for the win. Brad, this is for you. When you're neck and neck with Joey like that, does he push you because you want to maybe beat him more?
You know, there's obviously going to be a teammate dynamic, and there's things that he does really well and things that I, you know, do differently and seem to do well. But you know, we of course push each other to be the best, but I think it's really healthy the way it is, and I'm happy to see him win accordingly.
Any more questions for either Brad or Ricky? Okay, congrats, guys. Thanks a lot for coming in.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it. All right, we'll continue our post-race media availability for the Toyota Owners 400. Top finishing Toyota driver, finished third today in today's race. Denny Hamlin led 59 laps today, was out in front pretty much all day. Denny, can you just give your impression from inside the car of today's race?
Yeah, it was you know, it was about as good as we had. You know, we just didn't have the speed that the other cars had. We talked about that Friday during media, but we optimized our day. It's the best we could do, and you know, we finished right where we should have.
Questions for Denny? We'll start over here, Barry.
Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcasting, WAKG. I know last week you were talking about that you felt like the team was making small strides in the right direction to have more success with the Toyota team. How do you feel today's race went for you in that effort? And then, of course, coming back to Richmond under daylight circumstances, I noticed that in the first segment, cars were running pretty high to the wall compared to sometimes at night.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, some of the issues that you might have with speed is masked just a little bit on a short track. So, you know, by no means does this indicate that we've fixed anything. I think we know that we have some shortfalls, and you know, it's, you know, when I'm running out front, my balance is very, very good where I need it to be, and we just don't have a car that was quite fast enough. Aerodynamics matter, skew matters, things like that, and we're just a little behind. And so, you know, you got to just take solace in some small wins and goals. And today was a good finish, and you know, we executed great, didn't make any mistakes, and finished, you know, right where we should have. So we at least can build on that, you know, and try to survive this time of the season where we don't have the fastest cars.
Go up here to Kelly. Get a mic up front.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Denny, kind of piggybacking off that, in terms of the daylight, how much does racing in the daylight here, when conditions are like this, when it's the sun is beating down and it was hotter today, how much does that lend itself to the type of racing that we saw today compared to at night, where it's maybe not as adventurous and action-packed, to be honest?
Yeah, you know, the night, you know, Richmond is such a great day or night race. I like racing at night here as just as much as I like racing during the day. But it just seems like during the day, if you really can make up some positions, because the track is so slippery that if you have a little bit more grip than the person in front of you, typically you can make a move. Where nighttime, the speeds are a little faster. You're always buried on the bottom for the most part, and it's a little bit tougher to pass. So it just makes the racing a little bit better, the slicker the conditions.
Stay up front here to Al, and then we'll go up to the press box for a couple.
Hey, Denny, Al Pearson, Motor Week. You mentioned you made small gains today, small victories. Was there any one particular thing that you people did as an organization to get better, or was it just a lot of little things that contributed to today?
We haven't gotten better. We're really right where we were. I mean, if we go to a mile and a half next week, we're just as far off as what we were a week ago. So literally, it's just a short track, and so driver can make a little bit more difference in aerodynamics and skew and all that stuff. Doesn't matter quite as much, but it's still an issue for us. Even you still got to have raw speed. You cannot just have a better setup than those guys and go out and beat them. You have to have a faster car, and we just I'm optimistic. I hate to be pessimistic about today, but we got to be real about it and realize, hey, it's just a short track. We still have a lot of work to do to catch up.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the press box.
Yeah, this is Randy Hallman from the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Denny, all those things you've been talking about, no mistakes, working it right in the pits, a slick track and making the most of it. Are these the kind of things that it takes a lot of experience to do? We've been talking about young drivers and young guns and young this and that, but it seemed like this was a race when experience really counted.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the short tracks, I think experience does matter. I think that you can lean on the veterans to give you good information to put a good setup in the car and at least be in contention. It's the same thing I was talked about on Friday. You still have the organizations that have more speed than you, but you as a veteran know what it takes to get around this track. So we're always going to be in contention, but it's just going to be harder to get a win than it was before. So yeah, that's typically why you see these types of racetracks where the old guys at least have a chance.
Another question in the press box.
Denny, Lane Casadante from CBS 6 here in Richmond. It seemed that your pit stops were really good today, getting you consistently back out front. Is that one of the positives you take from this weekend? Because it hasn't always been the case, but it seems like it's getting a lot better.
It is getting better. We struggled with our pit crew early in the season, but they're definitely hitting their stride and did a great job all day. Hats off to them. And I think we missed one lug nut on the last stop, so we'll get a little fine for that. But for the most part, they've been spot on and doing a really good job in these races that we're contending with.
So we have one more in the press box, then we'll go to Hank and Jerry.
Denny, the crowds just weren't what they were for the night races here at Richmond. I was wondering how much you noticed that as a driver, and obviously there's forces at play here well beyond your control, but what you guys feel you maybe need to do to spark this event.
Yeah, I mean, it's 90 degrees and coverage on TV is pretty excellent. So it's tough to sit in the bleachers when it's 90. But who knows? I mean, I think that there's more to it than just people not watching NASCAR. I think that the sports in general are way down. Attendance is down. A lot of other sports as well. It's just viewing sports is different now than what it's ever been. I mean, people with smartphones, they're watching races and they're watching games in the back of their car. Going up the highway. You don't have to attend these races anymore. You get such a good experience through your cell phone. So, the way we measure, attendance and we measure TV ratings and all that, it's always skewed because we live in a different world now.
We'll go to Hank, Jerry, and then Paul.
Hey, Denny, Hank Kurz with AP. You talked earlier in the week about how you're kind of a summertime racer. You kind of tend to get better as it gets warmer. There's obviously a lot of frustration in what you're saying today. How much concern is there?
There's not much concern because I think we know where we need to work. We know where we need to get better. And the tough part is, sucking and not knowing why. That's the tough part. At least if you know why, then you can go to work on those areas. And we have 500 employees at JGR that's working very hard to make sure we're going to be fast when it really counts at the end of this season. And until then, we got to do what we did today, and that's get a good finish and stay as high in the points as we can. That way, when we have cars that can win, we can capitalize on those moments. So I'm not really worried. It's just frustrating. You know, I knew going into today that we were at a disadvantage before we even roll off pit road. But you got to just do everything you can to fight as hard as you can, and maybe the chips would fall just perfectly for us, but they didn't, and we still had a good finish. So I'm optimistic that we know where we need to be, and we'll be there soon-ish.
Did you gain any optimism from watching the way Matt started, leading the first 163 laps?
Not really. I mean, I think that the track goes through huge changes here, and the cream's going to rise to the top after halfway, and you really see who's got the cars to beat. And I knew that even though we were making up positions and getting towards the front, there was a handful of cars that we were going to have to battle that were just a little bit better than us.
Okay, we'll go Cherry, Paul, and then wrap it up in the press box.
Jerry Jordan, Tires.net, Performance Racing Network. You talked about short tracks. You talked about a mile and a half. Next week we go to Talladega. Can you talk about your anticipation for that? And are you looking forward to it or dreading it?
No, definitely looking forward to it. It's our super speedway program's been great at JGR. I've really gotten a lot, pretty good on super speedways, and so it's a race. It's honestly probably the best chance I have at winning until a few months from now. So it's everything is pretty level. I'm optimistic we're gonna have a car that can win, and I'll do the best I can to fight for every position. So really, the super speedways is tracks where we get excited because we know we can go out there and win.
Paul?
Yeah, Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. Denny, you knew you didn't have the fastest car today, and you said a moment ago that you knew there were a handful of cars that you were going to have to get by somehow. With the pit stops working as well as they could and your experience on short tracks, was there ever a point where you thought, I might be able to steal one today?
Yeah, there was a moment where the two Penske cars stayed out and we pitted, and that's where I thought that, okay, this could be the chance we had to steal it. But then we had another caution, and then they came in and pitted with us. So we knew we had to do something different to beat those guys. We weren't going to be able to beat them straight up. We had to either beat them off pit road or we had to be on a different tire strategy. And the only way to be on a different tire strategy is we were going to have to pit, hope they didn't pit, and they didn't. And it really, my eyes got big at that moment, thinking this could be our chance to level the playing field and race these guys. But we had another caution, and it kind of screwed all that up.
Denny, go. Congrats on the third place finish, Denny. Great job, and we will see you next week at Talladega.
All right, thanks.
Hello. Ready? Congrats, Todd. Thank you. Okay, we got 2/3 of our winning team of the Toyota Owners 400 today at Richmond International Raceway. We got winning crew chief Todd Gordon and the vice chairman of Penske Racing and executive vice president of Penske Corporation, Walter Czarnecki. Let's start with you, Todd. Challenging day out there. Obviously, the 22 had to start from the rear, came all the way back, and was there at the end and took home another victory.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome day. Obviously, we had to start at the back. We had a transmission change, and we did make found some debris in it. It was pretty substantial, so it was it was a pretty easy call for myself. But great effort by everybody. Pit crew gained his spots on pit road early in the race, and kept fighting us forward. And Joey did a great job of being disciplined on not abusing his car and just doing what he needed to maximize what we had out of the first two stages. I think we got to 10th in the first stage. I think we were 10th in the second stage. But it's a hot, slick racetrack, and nobody's car was good. Our car just got in the right spot at the right time. So pretty proud of everybody's effort.
Awesome. And Walter, 1-2 finish by Team Penske today. Maybe talk about your team and Joey winning on a milestone start. Is their 300th?
Well, not only was it a 1-2 finish today, but you may know that we finished 1-2 last night at Phoenix. So this is a very, very special weekend for us. I was reminded, just as I was walking over here, of a race, I think it might have been in the mid-'90s when we raced here on a Saturday night, and Rusty Wallace won the race, and we went to Mid-Ohio the next day and won the IndyCar race. So this is truly a special weekend. But I thought Brad in the Detroit Genuine Parts Ford was just magnificent all day. As Todd said, the 22, and he made a fabulous call there with 60 to go to put Joey in the position to prevail there at the end. But that 2 car was really strong all day long. Great on long runs, as everybody was able to see, and I think that's a testimony to the preparation, of our team. So to finish 1-2, it's pretty gratifying.
Well, thank you guys. Congratulations again. We'll open up 2 questions now for our championship-winning team. Any questions from the press box?
No questions.
Who said that? No questions? Okay. Paul?
Paul Woody, Richmond Times-Dispatch. What was the call with 60 to go that was so crucial?
That's when he came in and started the.
Well, we jumped the pit cycle. I looked at it, and if you looked at it when we went green, we had a, you looked at it, and when we had the last caution, I think we had 144 to go. I think when we took it, so we jumped ahead of the cycle. I think everybody felt the cycle be at 320. It was actually about, I guess, at 315 we came to pit road and started the short pit cycle. That bought us a little track position, and then obviously we, I was looking at it saying that we typically have cautions at the end, so our split there didn't need to be 72 to split 144. It needed to be splitting up about 110 because I thought we'd see a caution with 35 to go. That's somewhere 20 to 35 to go seems to be where we see cautions here, and we had multiples.
Jim?
Yeah, that was my mathematical error. I'm sorry. It's 85 to go.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Jim, up front here.
.com. Todd, Joey has talked before the season about just wanting to get a clean race to see what the potential was with his team. You had to start from the back for the transmission change, but how did you feel the race was run as a unit today?
I thought all facets performed decently today. I thought we, I think Wald alluded to it. I thought the 2 car had a little more speed than we did, but as the race went on, I thought we closed up to him. He was leading when we short pitted, and honestly, it was a little bit of a tougher call at 3:15 to come because I felt like we were matching lap times with the 2 car and actually driving forward, passing cars. But I thought I really felt that our best play was to get tires on and start passing more cars. So forced the cycle there, but we got better as the day went on. That's encouraging. We started out with a car, and Richmond's been a place that, I mean, if you look back to last spring, we started from the front row, and we almost went 2 laps down by the first green flag cycle, ended at 145, I think it was. So we've had our struggles here, and we've battled back from it. I think that's one thing that this team does a phenomenal job of, is continuing to focus forward and battling through situations. So a racetrack that we don't always feel like we've got the greatest grasp on how to race well here, but we've won a couple times. So good execution. I think Joey gave good feedback. We engineers did a good job of trying to put together a race, and I thought we made our car faster during the race and put ourselves in a position where we could take advantage of the short run speed.
We've got another one in the back.
Corey Smith with North State Journal. For either of you at this point, I guess, where was your mindset at heading into this race after knowing that you had to make the transmission change early on and knowing that you had to start from the rear?
Let me answer that.
Go ahead. I know what my mindset was, but
I think it's just we looked at it mindset. I was hoping for an early caution to take advantage of getting off strategy with the rest of them, and it came at lap 7. So that was perfect. Actually, Winston Kelly asked me before the race. He said, "So what are you looking for today?" I said, "A caution at lap 8, because the field won't come and we will." So it came, I think, at 6 or 7, maybe a lap or 2 early, but that got us an opportunity to put tires on and get ourselves where we're in a better position than some, and we could drive some track position forward. You look at it and you say it's a setback, but we've had setbacks, and the great part is that Joey doesn't ever get his head down. We as a team always look forward, and it's like it's a situation where I texted him before we went on the broadcast yesterday. I said we're gonna have to go to the back for a transmission change. There's debris in it, and you know, it's something we've never, I can't think of the last time we ever saw one of those as a team. So we build great stuff at the shop. It's just, we'll figure it out when we get back. But it wasn't, oh boy, our day's done. It was, okay, well, what do we got to do? You know, what's our strategy going to be? So it's focused forward. And that's, when you focus forward, you can focus on what you're going to make the best out of.
Corey, one other perspective in terms of Todd's mindset. When I got here this morning, I sat down with him and Joey, and he kept telling Joey 80%, 80%. So don't go out there and force the issue. You're at the back. You got a good car. Don't force the issue.
That
So-
started at 9 a.m. with a text to him.
Yeah. And
Because he
then
doesn't run that 80% too often.
And Joey said to me, you pay me to run 100%. I said, well, today will be a little bit different. So.
Any other questions down here? Okay, Todd, Walter, congratulations. Great
Thank
run.
you so much, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we are with today's race-winning driver, the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske, Joey Logano. Joey, 300th milestone, 300 start. You're right.
Yeah, I'm okay. The microphone's a little bit broke. Who was talking so much they broke the microphone up here?
Denny
Todd,
was in here for a while, yeah. So, well, speaking of equipment issues, one of them caused you to start on the from the rear of the field and march your way all the way back there to the win today. Talk about those challenges and then winning in your milestone 300 start.
Yeah, it was real nice. Obviously, when I got the text from Todd yesterday when I was up in the booth talking, I thought, oh, man, and, you know, this is not the place you want to start in the back for a lot of reasons. For one, you know, you have 5-6 laps on your tires because qualifying. And then, you know, obviously, so you don't really have an advantage on anybody. And, you know, two, being a short track, that you kind of got to go hard on the short run to try to not go down a lap and hope for a caution. And that worked out really well. You know, we got, you know, a nice caution 5 laps into the race, put some sticker tires on it when some guys still had their qualifiers on it. Be able to start picking them off slowly. It took us all day to at least break into the top 5. We kind of level out as a, you know, 5th, 7th, 8th place car. It seemed like everyone from 4th to 10th was about the same speed. So it's just all about just gaining a little bit of track position on restarts and pit stops. And we just kind of stayed right around there. And Todd made some good calls at the end, got us some track position. We had a good pit stop at the end that maintained the track position. And then some good restarts that were able to get the lead back when everyone stayed out on old tires and just try to check out. That was the goal. Is you know, it wasn't one of those save your tires and you know, don't get too big of a lead. It was go as hard as you possibly can because I knew how quick Brad was. I saw it all day. He was the fastest car. He led a ton of laps today, and so I knew I just had to get the biggest lead I could because he cut off a good second there at the end. So. Glad the race is 400 laps because if it's any shorter, we probably wouldn't have won. If it's any longer, we wouldn't have won. So it just turned out just right for us today.
And before I open it for questions, you mentioned Brad, 1-2 finish with Team Penske. They did it yesterday in IndyCar. Can you just talk about the caliber of Team Penske is, especially
Sounds like we're going to have a party. It's pretty neat to have a couple 1-2 finishes over the weekend. And, you know, also, you know, I think four of the top 5 are Fords. Is that right? Yeah, hey, that's not bad. So a lot of good things that came out of this weekend for Ford and Team Penske as well. And you know, it's nice to break through and get our first points win of the year. That being on the 300th start for me personally, that was kind of a cool milestone to hit and driving in the victory lane with that too. Hey, did you hear that 6 people have won on their 300th start? How about that crazy stat? That's pretty cool.
And one of them was another Team Penske guy, Rusty Wallace, did it in 1993.
Hot dog. All right.
Okay, we'll open
Good
it up
to
for
know.
questions for Joey. We'll start up here with Jeff.
How many people have won on their 400th start? Nobody knows here.
I'll let you know in a couple years.
Yeah.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Joey, Todd was saying before he broke the microphone that they had mentioned that they told you run 80% today. starting at the back. They didn't want you to go all out, come through the field. Did you take their advice?
I did. I hate it too. I am not wired that way. I am, the balls to the wall type of guy, as hard as I can, all the time. That's the way I'm wired, and that's what's proven to be successful at certain racetracks. Richmond's not one of them. Richmond's one of them that you pay the penalty if you go too hard, and I was able to kind of try to find a nice line that was able to try to preserve my tires for the long runs. Obviously, we had a lot of long runs here today, and that was kind of expected, as Richmond typically is. And then, at the end, it was take that 80% thing and throw that out the window. it's game time, and I was able to give it 100%. And even that last run, going as hard as I did, I started to pay the penalty towards the end of the race when Brad was catching me. So, there's a time to go and a time to whoa, right? So we were able to play those cards at the right time.
Any questions? Further questions? We'll go with Hank on the left here.
Hey, Joey. Hank Kurz with AP. What's it like when you kind of feel like you stole a race?
Feels good because I haven't stolen from me a lot, so it feels nice. We've put ourselves in the opportunity to win at Texas, possibly if our car was faster. We weren't quite fast enough to do it. Here we were just fast enough to break through and kind of steal a win. We had a decent car. We were, in the lead when the caution came out there, and we looked like we were in pretty good shape. And then, obviously to have the good pit stops and all that, I don't really know if you call that stealing. We didn't get lucky. We were able to just do what we know how to do and execute the best, and that's this way we won. So I don't know if stealing's the right word for what happened today.
Go Zach in the middle there, and then Ellen.
Yep, Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Joey, Brian France was in here earlier. He brought his son in here, and he was asked, he basically said, hey, who do you want to win the race? He said, Joey Logano. How do you think he's going to run? He said, terrible.
He thought I was going to run terrible?
That's what he said.
That's
so
funny.
starting in the back, I don't know, was he accurate with that? And did you know he is a fan of yours?
I do. He actually sat with me there in the driver's meeting today. And, he's pretty funny. Yeah, just like every other kid. I don't know how exactly how old he is. I think he's 6 or so. He's just like every other 6-year-old that says the funniest thing sometimes, and it's quite a hoot. So. He's fun to hang out with, and I've gotten to know him a few times, and when we're at the banquet, I see him, or just select races during the season he gets to come to, and I get to talk to him a little bit. And I don't know why he chose me as his favorite. Glad to know he's got a lot of faith in me, though.
We'll go here to Ellen.
Hi, Joey. Ellen Hurrow, USA Today Sports. You've had a lot of really strong finishes this year, other than the crash at Phoenix, which you can throw out the window. Did you feel like a win was just a matter of time, given how well you've been running?
Yeah, we haven't really looked at the stats a whole bunch because, we've been running well, but we haven't been the fastest car at the right times. So I think we've been really looking at how can we make our cars faster. Are we fast as we want to be yet? No, absolutely not. We weren't the fastest car today, but we were able to win. I think that's 5 straight top 5s. That's a pretty cool little accomplishment to have this early in the season. And the breakthrough with a win on that's nice. But and we've been consistent, right? I think every race has been in the top 10 besides Phoenix that we crashed in. So we're doing what we know how to do. We're a consistent race team. We're battling back from things that happen during the race. We haven't scored as many stage points as we'd like. Even today, I think I only got 1. I think I finished 10th in the first one and maybe 11th in the second, I think. So not very good in the stage points today. But the win with the playoff points that comes along with that gets a thumbs up today. So good thing we got that.
Go over to Barry.
Barry Richmond, Piedmont Broadcasting, WAKG. Great win today, and not one thing has to do with the other, but how does that change your mindset going into Talladega, which, one always calls a wild card later in the season?
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't change our mindset at all. Our goal is to win, and our goal is to race when we go to Talladega. We're one of those teams that really, to the point of not knowing how to go 80%. It's the same thing when I go to Talladega. I don't know how to go right in the back. I want to go lead every lap and race up front. Now, sometimes that doesn't work for me, but every now and again we're able to break through with a win. It seems like we go to Talladega, we either win or crash. So I'm okay with that. You know, if the winds break through every now and again, I'm all right with that. So, you know, our strategy is the same every time we go to a speedway, no matter we're in position to get through to the next round, like we, you know, hopefully we'll be in when we go back down there in the fall. But you know, we're just going to be wide open either way. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, the stage points, they mean so much. I'm pretty sure I probably lost points to Brad today, considering, you know, and we won the race. So the stage points mean so much, and we haven't scored many stage points over the year. We've had nice finishes, but we haven't scored many stage points. We have one stage win, which gives us the playoff point, but that's it. So we need to get a little better during the race. We've been able to come at the end and get to where we need to be and get up front, but we weren't really able to do that during the race yet, so we got to clean that up a little bit. And things like today kind of set you back, right? When you got to start in the back. We had to start in the back in California. We had to start in the back here. We've had pit road penalties. We've had you know, issues on the racetrack. We've you name it. We've gone through it, and we've been able to finish really well, but we've got to get the, you know, the stage points during the race.
And to confirm, you earned 2 stage points today, finished 10th in both stages.
Oh.
Stage 1 and stage 2.
Hot dog.
We'll go to Nate here.
Hey, your
Mic
microphone's
problems.
broke too?
Yeah, no, I fixed it.
Oh, good job.
I'm
Did you
better
hit
than your
it?
crew chief, apparently.
That fixes it?
Yeah, just slam it. Hey, Ryan, NBC Sports. So you seem kind of fascinated by the 300th start, 18th win thing, and I'm just doing a little research here, so I got a follow-up to this. But first, like, is that about where you want to be for 300 starts, is 18 wins? Do you think about that? Do drivers think about that? Do you ever look at those rankings?
Well, first off, if you think 18 out of 300 doesn't sound very good, does it? It's, but the first 150 were pretty bad. I think that's hurts the stat a little bit. If you look at the last 150, yeah, we're pretty proud of that. I count at 20 wins because I count the All-Star race and the Clash. I think there are still races, and I got trophies for them, so I count those. I know no one else does, but I count everyone I can. They're hard to come by. You count everyone you could possibly get. You kidding me? Is it where I want to be? No, I don't think I can ever tell you it's where I want to be. My goals are set so high that I don't think I think they are reachable, but that one there, you know, 18 out of 300, maybe not reaching where I want to be.
Well, as a follow-up, I mean, you ask like it doesn't, or say it doesn't sound like very many. I mean, this puts you, from what I can tell from Racing Reference, you are now in a 4-way tie for 45th. So you're now firmly like in the top 50 with 18 wins. I guess that's, I mean, that's not bad, right?
Long ways to go. That guy, Richard Petty guy, he's got quite a few. Richard Petty guy, he won a lot of races, didn't he?
Kaylee, in the front here, please.
Hey, Joey, I got another stat for you. Your 15th win in the last 4 seasons puts you 1 behind Jimmy Johnson over that stretch. What's it like to be, you talked about your first 150 races, over your last 150 races, what's it like to be in that kind of company?
Yeah, that's real nice. I was watching Race Hub last week after he won again, and it said, will he get to 100 wins or something like that? And I'm thinking, man, I'm about to start my 300th race. He's won 100 of them almost. Holy crap. So that's what I thought when I was watching it. To be within 1 win of a legend like Jimmy Johnson is, hey, that's pretty freaking cool. Of the last, like you said, 4 years since I've been with Team Penske. So we're a strong team. But, you know, we got to get some championships and keep winning those races. So it's nice to keep stacking them up. But long ways to go. But at least I'm young and I got a long ways to go.
Jim?
Motorsport.com, you rattled off a list earlier of some of the things that have happened to you in races this season, and you have talked afterwards of wanting just to get a clean race. Today you had to start from the back, but what does the performance and the victory speak about your team that even faced with bad circumstances, you were able to come out on top today?
We're resilient, that's for sure, and we've shown that over the last 4 years that you can't hold us down. You know, you might be able to put us back every now and again, but you're not going to hold that team down. It's just such a strong team. The attitude is everything, right? When you look at sports, you got to have that attitude. You got to have that, I will win attitude. We will fight back, and the team's got that. I don't even have to preach it. That's something that is somehow just installed into all of them somehow, and I think a lot of it, if you look at the pit crew, they're all athletes, right? They're athletes that have been through a lot of high pressure situations in motorsports and outside of motorsports. And to me, a true athlete is someone that can be better under pressure in situations like this. My team's full of that. And I think that through the road crew as well. We constantly are working, and there's never anyone the same. We're working too hard, and they want to get back home. They all want it just as bad as me and just as bad as Todd. Everyone wants to win, and that's why we're successful, is because it's attitude. It's all about attitude.
Go up to the press box for one, and then wrap it up with Jeff here.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. Joe, it's almost May, a month that's very important to your boss, and taking into account today here with you and Brad in Phoenix last night, what kind of momentum do you think this carries in, and how happy do you think the boss is going to be the next time you see him heading into that month?
Yeah, I think he's on his way to Australia right now, so hopefully he's happy. I don't know if there's a reason why he shouldn't be happy at a great weekend, but obviously, like you said, it's big moments coming up for Team Penske when you think of the Indy 500 coming up, and Coke 600, and obviously the races that come up in the month of May. So, it's race time, right? This is the time of the year that you get in that heat. You slipping and sliding all the time. That's just it's part of it, and it's a good part of the season for us in the past. And usually, as the 22 team goes throughout the season, we're usually able to pick up a little bit as it comes playoff time. So hopefully we're able to do that again too.
Okay, we'll end it with Jeff in the middle here.
Joey, Jeffrey Miller, Athlon Sports. Commitment line box played a big role in today's race. Is there any strategy when you're leading and you're coming to pit road and you kind of angle in there to keep the guys behind you from seeing that? And what was your reaction when you learned that Kyle Busch got the penalty to throw to the rear?
Honestly, I didn't know what it was for. There was no strategy behind it, just a late call to pits. It was a very late call that Todd said pit, and I was like, oh, okay. And I took a hard left and was able to get down. But when you're the trailing car, you're looking at a rear spoiler, so you're not 100% sure where that box is. And, it's a tough situation. There wasn't really any strategy behind it, just happened, right? Just a late call to pit.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Joey. Congratulations on the big win, and good luck next week at Talladega.
All right, great. Thanks, guys.